Hi there, my name's Alana, and today we are checking out some products that the makeup community has been waiting on forever. That is Pat McGrath's new blush collection, new blush range, her first ever range of blushes. And then I couldn't help myself, I love her eyeshadow formula so much that I also picked up this little quad. So here's what we're gonna do. We are going to do my makeup, we're gonna try these blushes, try the eyeshadow, and we're gonna come back here and we're gonna talk about it. So let's get into it. So this is the absolutely beautiful Pat McGrath Venus In Fleurs Luxe Quad in Voyeruistic Vixen. It has the funniest little thing on the back, I'm just gonna flip it. It says, use without caution, shade throwing and eye ecstasy may result in prolonged use. I think that's so funny. Okay, so I'm so excited for this beauty. I love her eyeshadow formula, and in the quads, just obsessed. So I'm gonna be starting with my Luxie 239 Precision Shader Brush. And I'm gonna go all over with this sort of oystery champagne color. Now already on my eye, I do have MAC's Paint Pot and Painterly. I love taking a shade like this and using it on my base for my whole look because I find it just brings that shimmer out, and it gives that sort of ethereal, like ultra feminine, soft watercolor shade. And just starting with a shade like this on the bottom is my go-to. I actually really don't like it when palettes and quads don't have a shade like this. So now I'm gonna use my Rephr 16 brush, and I'm gonna use this matte sort of brown shade in my crease. Now I recently made a Rephr order. Ooh, this is such a pretty wine. Such a pretty wine shade. Anyways, I recently made my first order from Rephr brushes, and I've been really enjoying them. So I don't really feel like I'm at a point that I can make a full review, but these were suggested to me in a live chat by a subscriber, and I really like them. The brushes themselves are natural hair, but at a much more affordable price point than, you know, the Sonia G or other sort of higher priced like luxury real hair brushes. And I find that when it comes to doing eyeshadow looks, for me, the real hair makes such a difference in my blending. I don't mind as much about real or synthetic on my face, and actually I prefer synthetic for like foundation brushes, but on an eye look, I just find it makes such a difference. Now I'm going to take the same brush, I ordered 2 of them, but a clean one, to just do some blending before we get into the shimmer. Now I haven't used this Rephr brush before, but this is number 12. And I think what I'm going to do is put this shade closer to my eye and then have this one on the outside. Actually, no, that's looking like it's going to be a little darker. So I'm actually going to do the reverse. I'm going to put the darker shade on the outside. And a brush like this is just great for packing it on. And I did order 2 of the number 12 brush, so I'm gonna use a clean 12 brush to go in with the stunning sort of peachy gold shade. Ooh, that's like pure glitter. This is exciting. Going back in with the clean blending brush to just help make sure everything is looking good. And then one of my little tricks, I like to use the brush after I've done my blending, to use that to sort of just use the leftover mix shade to drag under my eyes. I'm gonna add just a touch more of that brown, the matte sort of plummy brown. Okay, so there is the eyeshadow. I'm just gonna pop off camera for a minute, do my mascara, do my eyeliner, and then we'll be right back. So let's start off with the blushes. First off, we have Desert Orchid. I'm gonna use my MAC 116 brush, one of my favorite brushes for blush. I like that it's small, a little compact, but it has that little bit more of a coarse texture on the brush, which is what I really like about natural hair brushes. Now, one thing that you should know about my makeup right now, I'm wearing the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Foundation, shade 2. And then I'm also using the second shade of her bronzer. As you can see, I've already got a little bit of contour going on there. The reason that I like to have my sort of contour bronze tour, I'm not really a hardcore contour girl, but I am a bronze tour girl, let's say. The reason I like to have my bronzer already on is I want to show you how this makeup looks actually worked into a routine rather than just swatched or just put on your face. So this is the way I like to wear my makeup, and I always have a little bit of bronze tour on. So that is 2 sort of coats. You can see nothing versus the beautiful, beautiful Desert Orchid. Okay, I've cleaned off my brush, and now on my other cheek, we are going to go in with Nude Venus. I like to say this is the Orgasm shade. You know, it's the one sort of most similar to NARS Orgasm. It's that sort of golden peach pink kind of color. And I like colors like this because it really just warms up the face. Whereas Desert Orchid is a little bit more of a sort of bronzy pink, this is definitely a peachy pink. There is one coat. As you can see, a lot more, I also want to say a lot more pigmented, but we're going to go in with a second layer. As you can see, I'm just doing a little tiny buffing motion to kind of bring it back into my hairline. So as you can see, I feel like with Desert Orchid, you're getting a little more of a sculpted blush, whereas, I mean, I'd probably only do 1 coat of this one, but whereas with Nude Venus, you're getting that more sort of flushed, fresh face look. Okay, so I have removed the blush that was previously on my face. I've replaced the bronzer that was already there, touched up the foundation, cleaned off my brush. We're now going in with my last and final blush that I picked up from the collection. Can I pronounce the name of it? We shall find out. Oh, Fleurtatious. So this is a really, really pretty soft pink. Definitely the lightest pink of the shades that I purchased. Oh, look at that beautiful soft wash of pink. Let's pop on some highlighter and then we'll talk about these products. In keeping with the theme of the look, I am going to be using a Pat McGrath highlighter. This is the Divine Rose. So I wanted to pop outside for a minute just to show you what it looks like in natural lighting. But again, I am wearing Fleurtatious as my blush, and I am also wearing the Eyeshadow Quad. This is literally golden hour lighting. I feel so pretty. As you can see, it looks great in person. It looks great in natural lighting. And I mean, obviously it looks great in studio lighting, but like, that's not hard, okay? Everything looks great in studio lighting. But yeah, anyways, it just feels super pretty. Here we have the swatches from the eyeshadow palette. A few key observations. These 2 shimmery shades, pearlescent, incredible. The matte, very pigmented, but this one's interesting. It's more of a flaky glitter. And while it looks beautiful swatched, I don't actually love it as much on the eye. But these 2 pearly shades, the absolute standout from the palette for me. And here we have the blush swatches. We have Desert Orchid, which is a bit of a terracotta and definitely the most iridescent of the blushes. Then we have Nude Venus, which is a beautiful pink peachy sort of shade. And then we have Fleurtatious, which is a beautiful beige soft pink. Now before we dive deeper into the formula, I wanted to just touch on a couple of things about the process, the launch. First of all, Pat, thank you for finally giving us blushes. We have been waiting and waiting in desperation. And of course, she releases these blushes when I'm in the midst of moving. So that's another topic for another video. I should have my empty house tour already posted. If not, it's gonna be the next video that I have up. But it took me a little longer to get this video up because Pat's like, when would be a great time to release blushes? I know, when Alana is super busy. Kidding. You know, Pat and I have a beautiful friendship. We have this really, really special friendship where she releases products and then I send her money through her online website and I buy it. And she doesn't know I exist, except one time she did like one of my tweets. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, anyways, Pat, thank you. Thank you for these. These are beautiful. Okay, so the second thing I wanted to touch on, and this is something I wish more brands, more stores would do. When she released this launch, she had a whole bunch of different bundles. And at first I looked at the bundles and I'm like, there's no way it's gonna be the colors I actually want. But all the bundles, you could pick the blush colors you wanted, which I just thought was fantastic. Being able to pick them and mix and match and get the ones I really wanted. Now it was tough. I wanted more than 3. I'd say there was like 4 I wanted, but I tried to hold myself back. I tried to, and I succeeded, okay? Kind of. You know what? And I told myself if I love these, I can buy them at Sephora, I can buy them on Black Friday. I don't need to buy them all at once. But anyways, let's get into talking about these blushes. So Pat did release 9 different blush shades, and looking at the shades, you can see that there are some lighter, softer shades that I think would flatter complexions like mine, but there's also some really pigmented, really deep shades that I don't think you see in a lot of blush collections. Particularly, I'm thinking about Electric Bloom and maybe even Love Struck. Those shades look very pigmented and they look like they'd be very flattering on people with deeper complexions. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise coming from Pat McGrath that we're seeing that inclusivity, but I think that is fantastic. Now, of course, I purchased the 3 shades that I thought, in my expert, not so expert YouTuber opinion, would be flattering on myself. And I wanted to start off with the shade that I'm wearing for the talking portion of the video, and that is Fleurtatious. This shade, when I saw it, I'm like, hi, that's for me. Yes, that's mine. I'll take that now, please. It is described as a soft beige pink demi matte. And that's basically what I want in an everyday blush. I love it. It feels so soft on my skin. I have been wearing these over the last couple of days. I've been impressed with the wear time, but this is the kind of color that I love wearing in springtime. I love wearing basically all year round, just with kind of any look, like whether it's a more toned down sort of BB cream blush bronzer look, whether it's something a little more elaborate like I'm wearing right now. I find a neutral blush is fantastic because you can really take it in any direction. So if I was only going to buy one blush of the ones I tried, hands down, if you have a complexion similar to mine, I think this is it. It's almost like a more elevated Tarte Exposed. And if you have known me over the years, you'll know that Tarte Exposed is one of my favorite blushes. So next up we have Nude Venus. And this is described as a pink with a golden pearl. It's a little bit of a peachier pink. It's a little more warm tone. It really brightens up the face. This one is a lot more pigmented, I find, than Fleurtatious. So I like to use a lighter hand. I mean, we saw in the swatches, when I went in with that second coat, I was like, wow, that's blush. That is blushing. I am embarrassed that the blush is just coming through. But this is the shade that I think is the most similar to the iconic NARS Orgasm. However, it has less sparkle. So whereas NARS Orgasm I feel like has a sparkle to it, this just more is a golden sheeny pearl. Again, very pretty, a lit from within. I think it works on my complexion, but I think that this is one shade of the ones that I purchased in particular that you could, you know, probably bring into a medium complexion, maybe even a little bit deeper, depending of course on the look that you're going for. But that one has a little bit more wow to it. I love a corally blush like that once I've gotten a bit of a tan. Now it doesn't feel like I'm going to be getting a tan anytime soon thanks to lockdown, but I live in Ontario, so yay. But you know, when I do get a little bit of a tan, should I actually spend time outdoors this summer, that sort of peachy sort of, I keep on wanting to call it the orgasm-y pink, but that sort of peachy pink is the kind of color that I think really complements me when I have a tan. And finally, we have another favorite blush category of mine. This is Desert Orchid. And first of all, it has Orchid in the name, so who wouldn't want it? But more seriously, Desert Orchid is described as a bronze rose with a golden pearl. So again, we have that golden pearlescence just like we had in Nude Venus, unlike the Demi Matte shade. Now I did want to make sure I got one of each formula so that way we could kind of talk about them a bit. But this is, it's like a bronzer. So we all know that Bare Minerals has recently come out with a bronzer. And the shade I purchased, it didn't give me that bronzery look. But this is the exact kind of shade I think of when it comes to a bronzer. What is a bronzer? It is a blush bronzer. It is a blushy bronzer. And this is sort of a bronze toned blush that does two things. One, it works really well when I have my bronzer. I do kind of like a bronze tour, so it works really well with the bronzer. Of course, I'm not wearing it right now, but just work with me, okay? It works really well when you've got that sort of sculpting bronzer like I have right now to almost make it very monochromatic. The other thing it does, and you could totally do it without bronzer, once I started using bronzer, I couldn't go back, okay? But this shade, like, it does sort of two things. It feels very summery to me. It feels very beachy. It feels, again, once I start to get a little bit of a tan, I think it is going to really complement my skin tone. But until then, it kind of makes me feel like I'm tanned already. Really pretty, and I can see that shade also sort of stretching well into the fall. So of all the shades I purchased, Fleurtatious is my favorite. It's my sort of comfort color when it comes to blushes. It just works for me, but these other two are blushes I would lean into in different seasons or for different looks. It's not a surprise that Fleurtatious is my favorite, given that it's the one I chose to wear for this portion of filming and also the rest of the videos I'm filming today. But yeah. Anyways, in terms of the formula, it's finely milled, it's buttery soft, it applies well, and it layers well, it builds well. You saw when I was trying it on that, you know, one coat looked good, but two, just perfection. And again, if you want 3 or 4, I mean, go for it. I'm not in that kind of space, but I'm also very, very pale, so I don't want to have too much on there because then it just looks like a lot on me, okay? Now, one other thing I just want to talk about is the component. So you try to open it, it doesn't work. You try to just, doesn't work. So what you actually have to do is press, there's like a little tiny indent here. You press that, and then you're able to open it. And as you can see, it has the most beautiful, beautiful floral embossing. So I wanted to talk about the eyeshadow quad for a moment before I get into the pricing. So Venus In Fleurs Luxe Quad in Voyeruistic Vixen retails for $79. You've got 4 shades in this quad. And again, it's very, very pretty. I'm wearing it on my eyes right now. Reminds me of Fire Rose from Charlotte Tilbury, so if you weren't able to get your hands on it, this is a pretty decent alternative. The formula is fantastic. In particular, these 2 shades here, the pearl shades, I am obsessed with. Love the formula. I think Pat does such a beautiful pearl formula. This matte sort of brown wine color, very, very pretty. And the one that I just have the hardest time working with because I don't typically reach for glitters or duochromes is this shade here, Moonlit Liaison. Very, very pretty. I hope you can see, but it shifts between sort of a pink and a gold. It's a chunky glitter, and I'm wearing that in this section of my eye here. So I can't wait to keep playing with this palette, but very, very pretty. This is made in Italy, and I find that her 4 pans slash like the 4 pans made in Italy is my favorite Pat McGrath formula. So I couldn't say no to a rose gold beauty. Do you need it? No. Is it beautiful? Yes. Would this complement or supplement either of the Divine Rose palettes? I think it would, of course, but it's also most importantly functional on its own. It has everything I need for a pretty kind of, I like to call it a Lana style makeup look. But I have my pearl, my oyster pearl to go all over my eyes. I have my matte brownish shade to go in my lid. And then I have this beautiful, beautiful shimmer to go on my eyes. I am going to experiment more with this. I'm not in love with the chunky glitter yet, but in the pan, it is so, so pretty. Pricing. So as a Canadian, I'm going to price in Canadian dollars, but I'll try to leave the US pricing down below. So this eyeshadow quad, $79. These blushes are $58 each. However, I purchased them through the Blush Without Caution trio. That trio is 130 Canadian dollars, and that brings the individual cost of each blush down to about $43. What's really cool about that trio is that you get to pick the colors you want. It's not just a trio that's assigned to you, it's you get to pick what those blushes are. They also offer the Divine Blush Trio, where they've pre-selected 3 different blush trios that approximately align with a light, medium, and deep complexion if you're not entirely sure what colors you want to pick. Although personally, I would always want to be able to pick my shade, so I think the Blush Without Caution, given it's the same price and offers you total flexibility, is the way to go. Pat's website also has some other promos like the Divine Face and Eye Kit, where you can select your blush and you also get the highlighter and the eyeshadow palette. She has another combo with 2 blushes and a highlighter. She's got a whole bunch, so you can pick and choose what works best for you. But I opted to do the 3 blushes together. I made that order, and then I was like, Alana, you should just get the eyeshadow palette. So then I did that. So I'm very happy with my purchase, very happy with the colors I selected. Do I want more? Yeah, I do. Am I gonna do that right now? No, because I just bought a house. So I think I'm gonna have to be winding back just a little bit on my makeup purchases. Not entirely, but do I need a 4th Pat McGrath blush? Like, no. Do I need a 4th one come Black Friday? Yeah, I think I do. I think I do need that. So overall, I'm very, very happy with this collection. It's now available also at Sephora. So I'm gonna leave all the products I purchased linked down below. And just in case you're wondering, the other products on my face today are largely Charlotte Tilbury. I'm wearing the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation in shade 2. I'm also wearing her bronzer in shade 2, her setting powder in shade 1, and Nude Romance on my lips as my lipstick with Pillow Talk as the lip liner. Oh, and I also have MAC Paint Pot and Painterly as my base for my eyeshadow today. So this is the look. These are my thoughts. I would say that if you have a complexion similar to mine, Fleurtatious is the shade for you. But I think any of these shades are really, really lovely. Love to hear down in the comments below if you picked up any of these products. What's caught your eye? Are you thinking about picking anything up? Was it a tough decision? You guys know I love chatting with you guys about makeup down below. And if you love luxury high-end makeup, you love Charlotte Tilbury, you love Pat McGrath, you love Natasha Denona, and maybe you're even interested in some moving home decor content as I go through that process this summer, then please consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Mwah.